Hello, everybody. Hi, neighbors. Welcome to another deck profile or deck breakdown, actually. This is going to be a deck breakdown. We're going to be discussing a little bit about Hexorb, one of the newer, no, one of the old maidens of set 1, BTA 1 of Vanguard Overdress. This is a standard deck profile. We're going to be talking about an in-depth discussion about some people who've been kind of confused or a little bit hesitant in knowing what to build for Hexorb and how to construct it. I've been playing this deck since set 1, BTO 1, and it's been one of my favorite decks of all time. I love being able to control my fate, and I hope you guys also will be enjoying it too. If you guys think I missed anything, or if you guys feel like I can add any extra details, let me know in the comments below, and hopefully I can do a follow-up video explaining more my thoughts and decisions based on my own deck theories and designs. So these are as follows. All the codes for the versions of this deck I'll be putting down um, in the section below, in the doobly-doo down below. Just make sure to take a look at that. They're all versions of this list. So first things first, Hexorb is a very versatile deck and can be constructed almost any way that you want to. You have a version that can run fronts and draws. You could run a version that plays only just heavily around fronts. You could play a version that is only around the crits. It's entirely up to you. My favorite version is the draw version, so I'll show you that one hopefully in a second. And we go into discussion of all of my choices and why you should probably choose these for yourself, and I could talk about some substitutes that you can opt to as well. So here we go. So the staples of the deck is of course 4 Hexorb, um, 1 Pentagleam. Wait, there's two here. There's two here, but it's 1 Pentagleam, 1 starter, and 1 tier square. I don't really like the blaster engine that much. I don't feel like it facilitates a lot of what the deck really wants to do. Being able to select and control your deck and manipulate your deck from the get-go is a very important thing to me. Sure, you could probably trim out your opponent's rear guard, and it's pretty good against the Bruce matchup, but Bruce isn't as popular as it used to be anymore, so I prefer the Sorceress engine myself. You can go for the Blaster engine if you want to. If it feels more comfortable for you, more power to you. Other staples, I believe, is this card, Recurring Magic Latatita, and then 4 copies or 3 copies of Torturous. It's entirely up to you how much you want to add into them. Uh, as you notice, there is no Painkiller Angel in this list. I feel that because we are playing 4 copies of Kakaron and 4 copies of Allwine and also Laratita, we are using a lot of soul. So this version focuses a lot of fronts. It's entirely up to you whether or not you want to play this version. Uh, but it focuses on the fronts as the engine. It is playing a lot lower amount of fronts in comparison to other lists. I think some other lists probably play like 5 fronts instead and 4 copies of Totoin. But that's entirely up to you. Go for it. You play a heavier front ratio and get more explosive multi attacks going. I prefer to hedge my bets into Fasado because, as you notice, there is a lot of issue with Soul. There's a lot of issue with Conoblast, and we want to mitigate that by playing Fasado and getting to pressure your opponent while doing so, and possibly restarting your Fasado to secure your counter charge is also pretty nice as well. Let's see. So, like, if you already have played Hexor before, you should probably know most of this, or most of these cards do. So I won't really get too much into detail of what each of their skill is or what it does. Um, let's see here. There we go. Cut that out here. So here you go. This is what I feel. I feel like 4-4-2 is fine, or 4-3-3 is also fine for the grade 1 ratio here. And of course 4 PGs is also godlike. Wait, there's one front too much. So then we could play one. There we go. Yeah, okay, cool. So then let's get back into Keter again. Some of your alternative options that you can go for, you can still play Painkiller, but you would need to run stuff like Fasada more often, or you could run this Hexorb grade 3. Let's see here. Go via Trigger. You could run the Octavote Sorceress instead of Fasado if you feel like you'll run more grade 2. Like if I'm running more grade 2s as an option, so say for example we're going to do that. So let's cut the fronts. Let's cut this. Let's cut Fasados. We'll be playing a lot more grade 2s. So then we can cut one more Tortoise. We could play one Die Glass extra, because then we can use that as a booster. If you're having some soul issue, then we could possibly run this as like a back row target, either under your Vanguard or under one of the grade 2s that you're probably going to still be running. Entirely up to you. Or we can focus it more around the grade 2 engine. So then you'll be playing cards like... You could play cards like Nanoful if you're having issues with your soul. How much copies of Nanoful you want to run is entirely up to you. I would say 2 to 3 copies if you have the space for it. 2 is the bare minimum. If you want to run 1, that seems kind of gimmicky to me. 2 is fine. 2 is fine. And then for triggers, obviously, you're going to want to run draws. You're going to be running the new draw triggers. Let's see here. We're running 3 copies of the new draws. Let's take a look at the grade 2 options that you can go for. You could run Esonono as a grade 2 option here. A little bit lower to the ground, a little bit bursty. You can run 3 Esononos and 2 Pentagleam's main deck, which is not bad. So then it's a bit lower. It's a bunch of grade 2 pressure. You're forcing your opponent to guard a little bit more proactively, and you have higher shield value. Base shield value is a whole lot higher. So this is the grade 2 version that I like a whole lot. You don't have to run this one. This one is... it doesn't have a lot of finishing punch because you're very much... your whole engine is then dedicated towards the Ladarita. And I'm trying to find a balance between these two to make it both work, whether or not be it the front or be it the draw version. And this is also pretty nice. And then you focus purely around crits. I believe that 8 crits in both versions is the way to go, because you still want to close out a game. Most tournaments are best of 1, and mentally I want you guys to get more accustomed to... You're probably going to get gimped up by crits a whole lot often. So you being able to pressure your opponent with crits as well is also pretty nice. And 3 draws can get you somewhere, but the crits is the ones that are going to close out the game for you. So that's why we're playing a higher number of crits than draws or crits than fronts. At least that's my own ideology based on how much pressure you want to push out. And of course, we're going to keep on playing the Kakarone. Yeah, soul is very finite in the deck. You don't really accumulate a whole lot of soul outside a Persona ride. So you gotta be very careful to choose your battles to see which ones you want to use. And the reasons why I like Esonono in this version of the list, of course, is because you've played this in the version with fronts. You'll need to discard a card, and sometimes discarding cards is very detrimental to you. But discarding like a grade 2 that you're not going to use, like say for example another all wine or something that you can't really use again anymore, or if a Die Glass that you're probably just going to try to go for a push, that's fine. Or if you could discard a draw trigger, if you have enough shield to protect yourself against your opponent, it's fine. Because Kakarone plus your draw trigger is a 20k shield. Of course, it's 2 cards instead of just the 1 that the front trigger gives you. But it's not the worst. It's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing out there. You would still have to offer up your whole entire hand anyway. So it's the same thing, more or less. So I like this version a whole lot. It's bursty. It's very like, on your grade 2 turn, you just commit cards to the board, and the only thing you're kind of just searching for is just ways of being able to close out your opponent. The front version does give you more utility out of your over trigger though. since you're running a higher ratio of grade 3s, so you're highly likely to hit more of your crit triggers. But we want to try to get our opponents to like 3 damage before our Persona right turn, or during our Persona right turn, we want our opponent to be at 3 or 4 damage based on how much pressure we gave them in the early game. So, yeah. I'll be making both of these deck lists. I'll be putting them in the description of the video. Hopefully you guys both like them. If there's any questions or anything I missed, or if there's nothing much in detail that I'm going through, just let me know. There's a whole lot of different varying ways that you can play this list, and hopefully you guys find something that you guys enjoy. Okay? Be awesome, stay awesome, have a wonderful day. Thank y'all for tuning in and stopping on by. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.